Win, big odds the rest, 66 Final Scene, 100 Brave Edition and 80 Todella Gold. Here's John for the first of our live races.
G'day, Ken. They're about set to jump in race 5. It's the Dow Corning Paintable Plus Handicap, starting where they start the Golden Slipper in a chute that runs across the infield. Now the starter is on his stand and they're ready to break. In race 5, the gates open, they're off. Cherry Vale Lane by no means the best out. He missed it slightly, in fact, but he's going to scoot quickly between horses to join the leaders when they get going. Omnibot and Galwin jumped away very quickly, and Todella Gold is prominently placed soon after the start, followed by Napoleon. Final Scene is on the fence when they get going, and then Regal Theory a bit wide in the run to the first corner. At the head of the other, State Ballet and Brave Edition, followed by Influence and Uranai, and Jewel Ross went back to be last of all. Coming through the gap onto the course proper, Galwin is the leader under a big hold, led by about 2 lengths on Cherry Vale Lane. In third place, Omnibot. Running fourth, Regal Theory, followed by Todella Gold, and then Final Scene, Napoleon, State Ballet out very deep. A gap to Influence and Jewel Ross, followed by Uranai, and dropping out a long last on the turn is Brave Edition. Into the straight, Galwin is a clear-cut leader over Cherry Vale Lane. Dittman is allowing that horse to cruise up to the leader. He's going pretty well, Cherry Vale Lane. He's raced up now to dash to the lead, coming to the 200 mark. They're clear of Final Scene, followed by Omnibot. None of the others can win, but Cherry Vale Lane leaves them standing now. Cherry Vale Lane shot clear. He ducked in when he cleared Galwin. Galwin is battling on strongly. Cherry Vale Lane holding them at bay. A double coming up for Dittman, and he's hit the front in the Premiership as Cherry Vale Lane beats Galwin. Final Scene third, and then Influence and Omnibot. Jewel Ross, followed by Regal Theory, Napoleon, State Ballet. Well back is Uranai, followed by Todella Gold, and Brave Edition is last of all. And Mick Dittman hits the lead in the Jockeys Premiership with 3 races to go in the 1988-89 season. Oh, and he's riding like a man inspired. Number 2, Cherry Vale Lane, to pay $3.20 and $1.50. Second money, 2, Galwin. Number 9, a place dividend of $1.90, and third, number 10, Final Scene, a place dividend of $13, and you'll see the champion jocks in action in another 3 races today on Wide World of Sports.
Still more to come this afternoon on Wide World of Sports. Brought to you by Mobil, the #1 team.
Mobil, your #1 team.
Time for the results and dividends now for Sydney Race 5 at Rose Hill. The Dow Corning Paints Handicap run over 1,200 metres this afternoon. First, Cherry Vale Lane, number 2, $3.20 and $1.50. Second was Galwin, number 9, at $1.90. And third home was Final Scene, number 10, paying $13 in the New South Wales TAB. Ken Callender has a tip for Sydney Race 6, the Dow Corning Missile Stakes. It's number 5 and the name Clay Hero. Let's have a look. First quarter scores in the 4 VFL matches being played this afternoon. The match of the day at the MCG, it's Geelong playing Collingwood. Both teams were losers last weekend, so both will be desperate for victory. Geelong 3-6-24, behind by 6 points. Collingwood, the Magpies, 4-6-30. At Princess Park, the Blues are playing the Demons, and Carlton in front by a whopping few points. 6-5-41. Melbourne, where are you? 6 behinds. At VFL Park, North Melbourne up against the powerful Hawthorn side, and Dipierre Domenico is keen to see the Hawks win today, and he'll be pleased. 7-4-46, the Hawks, 2-6-18, North Melbourne. And at Moorabbin, the Saints are taking on Essendon. Graham Kennedy supporting St Kilda, and look at that, he's got them level at the moment. 3-3-21, Essendon 3-3-21. Max Walker.
Hey, thanks very much, George. You'll be pretty happy about Carlton, but I guess too we should mention that it'll be the last game. That's Collingwood and Geelong at the MCG for 21 days because of the condition of the ground. Okay, time to get your wetsuit on and wax up because we're going surfing at the Banzai Pipeline in Hawaii. We've seen those horrifying pipeline waves breaking over jagged coral on the show before, but the twist today is that these guys are on boogie boards. That's right, those flimsy little bodyboards the kids ride. Here's what they can do in the hands of the experts.
You're looking at the beautiful north shore of Oahu, Hawaii, which provides a stunning setting for the world's best on the bodyboard. Today we'll find out who is the best. It's the finals of the International Bodyboard Championships. Getting ready now for the main event, the finals. In challenging conditions, the sky is dark, rain is falling, but the show goes on.
And it looks like Ben Severson is going to get things started off here, Mike.
Well, he's high on the wave this time, and yes, a nice barrel roll into the whitewater. Isn't that a pretty sight, that fluorescent wetsuit up against the whitewater of the Pacific Ocean? Out in the ocean right now is Mike Stewart. Here's the defending world champion on his first wave of the day.
He started off with a couple of reverse belly spins, kind of biding his time to line up for this long section. There he does a nice aerial move right up onto the beach. A nice wave.
Nice wave setting up for Australian Ross Hawk, Bob. He moves down to the bottom of the whitewater. Can he do anything with it?
Looks like it's going to close out. He's probably just going to have to look for a way out and head back out.
Now, one of the things that the judges look for is to get everything out of the wave that you can. That's why you see these guys riding the bodyboards all the way into shore. Jay Reel on his first wave of the day, Bob.
Yeah, that was a nice flowing belly spin into a Rolo off the lip. Re-entry right up to the beach.
Oh, and Jay kind of disappears into the beach here at the pipeline. And Dean Marzol eats it big time on a large wave here at the pipeline. Outside, Keith Sasaki with his well-known drop knee style.
Keith loves this break here because, as you can see, he's facing the wave. His drop knee really favors a right-breaking wave, so he's having a lot of fun out there.
Well, he's twirling and whirling, and this is what Keith is famous for, this drop knee. And again, he's going to try and squeeze everything out of the wave possible. He's going to be dizzy by the time he turns around and kicks his fins back out to the lineup. Outside, it looks like Mike Stewart is going to pick up his second wave of the day.
You can see the high speed Mike generates on these walls. He's really trying to work as much distance as he can. Judges look for that.
And Ross Hawk screaming down the face of this wave, Bob.
Ross loves those big waves, and he got a good one there, pulling off a series of moves, loses it there on the inside.
Oh, but look at twirling into this wave is world champion Mike Stewart, and comes right through the lip of the wave, a barrel roll into the whitewater. That's got to be a high-scoring maneuver for Mike Stewart. I'm telling you, he did everything that he could to make this thing come off as a radical maneuver. As a matter of fact, I think we've got a chance to look at this again, and Bob, describe exactly what Stewart did here.
Right here, he's going up for an aerial Rolo and punches through the lip, rides the curl of the wave down to the bottom, tries to get his balance back on the board before carrying on.
Well, another radical maneuver by Mike Stewart, and now up in that drop knee stance, Keith Sasaki. Nice looking wave here, Bob.
Yeah, you can see here he's doing the backside move. His back's to the wave, but he's still able to pull off a lot of hot maneuvers. He seems very pleased about that.
It's amazing to me he goes to that drop knee stance and can still maintain the balance that's necessary to ride these waves to the shore. On his second wave of the day, Dean Marzol.
Dean opted for the lay-down style on this wave. It was a little bumpier. He's trying to get a lot more speed. He's still able to do some pretty hot maneuvers. Should be, there's a nice aerial, and heading for a kick-out.
Can you believe the board speed that he had on that wave? Well, we haven't heard from Ben Severson in a while, and he twirls into this one, Bob.
Yeah, that's a nice way to stall and still look flashy. Waiting for the wave to build up, you pull into a couple belly spins to bide your time.
And he maneuvers back into the whitewater. Nice barrel roll, and that's got to impress the judges, too. Oh, look at Jay Reel has picked off a nice-looking ride here at the pipeline. Goes to the top, grabs the rail, and comes down with the board. Will he pop out of the whitewater? Yes, he will. Here's Mike Stewart picking off another good-looking wave, Bob.
And there you see him fading back, waiting for it to wall up in front of him, but not wasting any time on the wave, doing maneuvers as much as he can.
One of the things I like best about Mike Stewart is positioning. He is always in the right place at the right time as you watch him scream down the face of this short break, and a nice barrel roll, and he's right up onto the sand here at the pipeline, and he and his bodyboard scoot right up to the lens of our camera, so he'll run down the beach and paddle back out. Good wave for Mike Stewart. Outside, Ross Hawk from Australia. Boy, look at the size of this one, Bob.
That's right. He's been waiting outside, hoping to pick off a quality big wave. He's going into a section. Too bad. Just closed out on him.
Well, that was a shame because he had a good-looking wave. It formed up to the right just perfectly. So there's Ross Hawk. You can see the fins. They kick, and they paddle back out to the lineup. Ben Severson, this is his third wave of the afternoon. Look at him scream under the whitewater, comes to the top. Oh, completely out of the air. They call it an aerial in bodyboarding, and then a couple of stomach twirls. Sets up for the inside section. A barrel roll into the sand. A very high-scoring wave for Ben Severson. Look at the smile on his face, Bob. We've got to take another look at this maneuver. Completely out of the air. And what happened here?
Well, you can see him picking up a lot of speed. For this aerial move, you have to really be moving on the wave because you're flying right up into the air, and nice landing. Setting up for another string of maneuvers. That's what constitutes a great ride.
Well, outside right now, Dean Marzol, that drop knee stance. He's going stomach first. He faces the wave on this one, Bob.
That's right. This wave is a little smoother, so he's able to do that drop knee stance. If it's a bumpy wave, he opts for the lay down or our bigger wave, but he can do it all.
Well, he proved it on that wave. A good high-scoring wave for the Hawaiian, Dean Marzol. He'll kick his way back out to the lineup. Looking outside, looks like J. Reel's dropping in. No, he pulls out and leaves the wave to Mike Stewart.
In that case, it looked like a priority call. The furthest guy out has right-of-way. In this case, it must have been Mike. Either that or Jay was just real generous in that case.
But Mike Stewart, the defending world champion, took advantage of the situation and another high-scoring wave. This is Keith Sasaki kicking in as time is running out in this heat.
He's fading back, setting up for a right wall. There he goes into his drop knee, a couple twirls, and looks like he's going for the beach, trying to get as many maneuvers in as possible.
That was the last run of the day, and when the judges' votes were added up, there was Mike Stewart atop the list again. Ben Severson second, Keith Sasaki third. Congratulations to Mike Stewart. He wins the 1989 International Bodyboard Championship.
Yes, Mike Stewart has done it again. Well, we don't get many waves like that where I at the surf down at St Kilda Beach, I can tell you that. But I just looking, I wrote down a couple of points here. In terms of commentary, and it's pretty close to my heart, we talk about cricket, it's different, but things like a drop knee stance, a belly spin, aerial rolo, a backside move, radical manoeuvres, pop-outs and fading back, it's a whole new dialogue, really.
It's a cross-section, I would imagine, Max, of just about all sports, but there's some fantastic... What I like about bodyboarding is the fact that if you're no good at, you know, jumping on the boards themselves, surfing, you can apply yourself to that and do a pretty good job. But those fellas obviously are another planet, aren't they?
Yeah, the thing that strikes me about all that is that in most sports you play, you know that there are definable limits to the opposition. But here the opposition is nature. You can't define it. I think it's absolutely fantastic what these people do. No matter how nature expresses itself, they seem to be able to prevail.
OK, well, we've got plenty of more top action coming up, including highlights of the cricket from Old Trafford.
Let's have a look at the progress scores in the second quarter of the 4 VFL matches being played this afternoon. First, the match of the day, Collingwood up against Geelong, and Geelong 3-9-27 trailed Collingwood. The Magpies really doing a good job, 8-7-56. At Princes Park, Carlton and Melbourne doing battle, and Carlton in front, 6-7-43, Melbourne 2-7-19. At VFL Park, Hawthorn, the Hawks, well in control of the match against North Melbourne already. 9-5-59 Hawthorn, 3-6-24 North Melbourne. And at Moorabbin, the Saints and the Bombers are playing, and Essendon just sneaking in front of St Kilda. I hope it's not a bad message there, a bad omen. 4-5-29, 3-3-21. Overseas in motor racing, World Formula 1 champion Ayrton Senna has grabbed provisional pole position for tomorrow night's West German Grand Prix to be run at Hockenheim. The Brazilian was more than a second faster than his McLaren teammate Alain Prost after the opening qualifying session. Nigel Mansell was third fastest in a Ferrari, followed by teammate Gerhard Berger, Alessandro Nannini in a Benetton, and Riccardo Patrese in a Williams. Of course, you can see live action, live coverage of the race on Wide World of Sports. That's tomorrow night. And I suggest you check your local guides for times. I think it's the lack of a moustache, Alan Jones. Can't control the mouth anymore.
George has difficulty with the English words, but all those fancy European ones he struggles with, doesn't he?
Years of practice.
As Tappy would say, it's a mortal combat or a battle royal in the Tour de France, and we pick it up at stage 13 with Laurent Fignon of France. George would be pleased with that. Laurent Fignon, and America's Greg LeMond, still locked in a fierce battle for the yellow jersey. The stage here is from Montpellier to Marseille, a distance of 110 miles, and it's as hot as hell.
Stage 13 begins in the architecturally bold city of Montpellier, passes through Van Gogh's painting haven of Arles, then heads south to the 2,500-year-old harbor at Marseille. The huge neoclassical concrete structures designed by Spanish architect Ricardo Bofi provide the backdrop at the start. There is little wind, and the mercury is high. It feels like there is 1 degree for every one of the 110 miles that lies ahead. There were questions as to the performance of Greg LeMond when he wore the yellow jersey, and largely those questions were put forth by one, Laurent Fignon. Now everyone wanted to know, as Greg LeMond had removed the shirt, just what would Laurent Fignon do now that he wore it?
During the 3 weeks of the Tour de France, time seems elastic, sometimes rushing by, sometimes frozen. This is stage 13 of 21, part of an interlude, an interstitial moment between the Pyrenees and the all-important Alps. Each day has seen a different town, a different hotel, a deepening sense of dislocation. The ordinary rhythms of life have been displaced by the relentless punishment of the Tour. Your body in constant pain now, and thus the need for diversion, so welcome when they come.
To go, and this is nothing the peloton will applaud. Confusion as Laurent Fignon, the race leader, and Charlie Motet break away. Two Frenchmen on Bastille Day trying to start a little revolution of their own. What is happening is outrageous and is catching the peloton off guard. On a flat stage where time is rarely gained in large amounts, two of the top three men have escaped. It seems Laurent Fignon's theory of how to act in the yellow jersey is very different from Greg LeMond's. There is irony in the fact that these two are former teammates, now suddenly working together towards something they cannot possibly share. Quickly, they've built a 47-second lead. The panic in the peloton is largely as a result of teams not riding together in preparation for such a move. Meanwhile, five-time champion Bernard Hinault tells Laurent Fignon what he is accomplishing, one French legend to another. To catch the two revolutionaries, the men will have to ignore the colors they wear and work as one. Strange bedfellows indeed. Delgado teams with LeMond.
The lead was shrinking. On a flat road like this, the two leaders were no match for the collective power of the peloton.
16 miles from the finish, the mission is a success and the peloton is relieved. Greg LeMond hugs one of the assistants that gave the support. Without it, LeMond's 7-second deficit may have grown, and with it, Fignon's ego. Now both have been kept in check. But there is still a stage to be won, and Vincent Barteau, a Fignon teammate, and Jean-Claude Colotti, a Motet teammate, decide it might as well be them. But aside from the capitalist pursuit of giving their teams publicity, this is also an emotional ride for Barteau. He had worn the yellow jersey for 12 days in the 1984 Tour de France, only to lose it to the eventual winner and his now teammate, Laurent Fignon. After that, he was depressed, thought about quitting, but Greg LeMond convinced him not to, and they've been great friends ever since. LeMond will share a piece of this victory with Vincent Barteau. The peloton, including Fignon, LeMond, Delgado, and Motet, crossed the line in a pack that all received the same time. A day of mayhem has, after all, changed nothing. Barteau ranked 564th in the world, #1 in stage 13. So Barteau, only a domestique and a team helper, a Frenchman, winning the Bastille Day stage. Little has changed among the leaders because they all covered the stage in exactly the same time, except Delgado, who was penalized 10 seconds for eating out of the prescribed zone. Fignon, who as the mountains were drawing near, may have decided to grab a few seconds of cushion. What he may have done is hurt his standing, for a man who breaks away only seems strong if he stays there. Greg LeMond was partly responsible for reeling Fignon in, preserving the gap. When the peloton caught Fignon, the aura was damaged. Damage that may seem small, however, compared to what can happen in the Alps.
Yeah, Ken, that's about to erupt the Tour de France. It's phenomenal, isn't it? And Delgado and LeMond, unlikely bedfellows.
Yeah, the fitness of these guys takes your breath away as much as the scenery that they're travelling through. I mean, it is almost like a National Geographic on two wheels, isn't it?
Yes, it is absolutely fantastic. But, you know, we've just seen in the last two sequences phenomenal sport of totally different kind. The sport in the water, that on the land. It's a phenomenal contest of man against imposing odds of nature, aren't they?
Yeah, tremendous stuff.
Yeah, colossal stuff. Well, we'll have more of the tour later on in the show.
And coming up, we've got a feast of sport. Here's a taste.
Coming up this hour, Max Walker meets the cheerleaders. Highlights of last night's play in the 4th cricket test at Old Trafford. classic cycling action as the Tour de France continues. More poker as the big bucks hit the table in Las Vegas. And still to come this afternoon, the Irish Rally. We make another viewer's dream come true with a fishy fantasy. Mike Tyson takes on Larry Holmes in a boxing classic. And finals action in the New South Wales Aerobic Championships. You're on the one and only Wide World of Sports.
Well, whatever code of football grabs your interest, there's no doubt that the players are the heroes. The administrators, they're responsible for making team success happen on the ground, but behind the high flyers and the glamour of any club, there are hundreds of devoted workers. Without their honorary commitment, the game would certainly lack excitement and colour.
Williams inside. Williams! Great try!
No matter what the code of football, it's the fans who are the heartbeat, pulse of any club. They provide the atmosphere, energy and a very necessary colour on match day, especially at Wembley on FA Cup final day.
Applauding the Wimbledon and the Liverpool fans.
Any football ground is a cold and colourless plot of dirt early on match day. A few diehards there to get the best vantage points, and of course the tireless members of the cheer squads, preparing for their moments of glory. Here in the Melbourne suburb of Abbotsford at the Phoenix Biscuit Company, 19-year-old Ben Dragonetti is employed as an accounts clerk, a quiet and very approachable young man. Ben is also vice president of the cheer squad, which each Saturday walks in the footsteps of Australia's best-known football club, Collingwood.
The pressure is unnerving at times. There's nothing like being out on the MCG or VFL Park in front of 70 or 80,000 people and they just roar at you.
What sort of age span are we looking at in a cheer squad like yours?
Well, I can remember back to last year where we had a father come and join up his daughter who was born that morning. And then the other extreme, we've got people who were in the cheer squad 30 years ago and who are still in the cheer squad.
Match day in Aussie rules is the culmination of the week for these youngsters. They put in the same long hours of preparation as their footy heroes, preparing their run-throughs, organising those giant walls of crepe paper and tape that add a special spark to footy.
We buy rolls of crepe paper. We get them in, I think it's about 200 or 300 kilo rolls, and we roll sheets of those out. We usually have ours 12 sheets high. Sticky tape, you just use so much sticky tape, it's ridiculous. We probably used 100 rolls of thin and 100 rolls of thicker tape. Someone came up with an idea and we sort of tossed it around and changed a few things here and there, and we decided, yeah, we'll go with that.
Every week a new idea to dream up, a new player to honour, a personal milestone to commemorate, an historic occasion to mark, or a message to make everyone stand up and take notice.
The year we won the flag, 87, they had a big picture of Peter Motley and Des English up on the banner, and I think that sort of spurred us on a little bit, so it done us a bit of it there.
The amount of work that the cheer squad, puts in, you can't help but admire them. I mean, they get nothing out of it. They follow the club and they put so much time and effort into it. I think that it's fantastic, and I look back.
An average size run-through takes about 8 hours to construct and will cost in excess of $500. At Carlton, one of football's better financed clubs, the strong cheer squad gets the backing of the club administration.
Yeah, we need some money quickly or something, they'll help out, so we're getting really well with the club.
The story isn't the same across town at Footscray in the heart of Melbourne's working-class western suburbs. Rumours of a possible relocation or merger for the club hasn't helped